Hello, here I am again, a bit earlier than usual, but I remembered it's Valentine's Day soon. So I thought I must do a video and tell a little story about one of my, one of my, yes, friendships, romances, I don't know. It was a very beautiful thing that happened to me in Portugal. I was married at the time, actually, about 40 years ago, and I had some friends in Portugal that invited me over for a free holiday. The silly thing was, I took a very depressed male friend with me. I don't know why. I think he needed cheering up as well. And it was about mid-March, so it was quite cold then. And I just went really for the change and for the break, but it was a bit depressing because it was, although Portugal was a beautiful place, there wasn't a soul about. It was very cold. Shops weren't open, although there weren't many where I stayed, and so it was a bit of a bleak time. The sun was warm in a sheltered place, but so I went out for a walk one day, leaving my depressed friend behind. And I just sat on the seawall thinking, I could just do with a nice Austrian to come into my life. And there was nobody about. It was a sheer fantasy and one of my creative moments. Anyway, at that point, I could see a man came out of there was a little newsagent's on the seafront, on the, what you call it. Anyway, this Austrian, I think, well, he was Austrian, he came out of the newsagent's and I thought, gosh, he looks nice. And so I thought, how can I get to talk to him? So I sort of had a little plan in my head. I raced on ahead of him and sat on the seawall with my camera, pretending I wanted to put a film in it, which I did not expect really, but I wanted an excuse to sort of talk to him. So he did stop and we had a little chat. Well, what a little chat. He put my film in for me, and as he was about to go, he said, "Would you like to come to my apartment for supper tonight?" Well, I mean, how often does that happen to a girl in Portugal? And so I said yes. I obviously didn't want to take my depressed friend with me, but I did say I'd go, and I look forward to it. And then, of course, in a very Austrian manner, he bowed slightly, clicked his heels. So romantic, so beautiful. And so that night I really got dressed up and looked forward to this time with him, really. I wasn't expecting anything. It wasn't in those days, this is about 40 years ago, you didn't have sex as soon as you saw somebody. Times were much more romantic. You had friendships and you got to know people, and it was just a different time, I guess. Not that I didn't fancy him. I don't think I did really. I think it was just, it was nice to sort of meet someone and talk to him, and he spoke perfect English. Anyway, I arrived at this flat and it was so beautiful. I mean, he picked bouquets of mimosa, which grows in Portugal at that time. So beautiful. And he prepared little canapes, little sort of bits and pieces on trays. Very nice wine. And it was just so romantic. I mean, it was one of the, well, I think that's why I'm doing this today, because I feel a bit down myself. You know what, these Valentine days, well, any day, special days, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Dog's Day, and Valentine's Day, I think for a lot of people is not, you know, St. Valentine. I don't know much about St. Valentine actually. I have had obviously one or two cards in my life, but also, unfortunately, it's a time that people send nasty cards or don't send cards, and there's a lot of upset and a lot of hurt around it all, really. It's silly, isn't it? So I think that this wasn't really Valentine's Day, but it was a little Valentine that when I feel really, really down, I think of him. He spoke perfect English, and we really talked all evening with these little bits and pieces and the smell of the mimosa. It was just so romantic. It was lovely. I haven't had many romances in my life. I've been a very practical girl, I suppose, really, and most of the men I meet aren't, well, they're Englishmen. They're not terribly romantic, are they? Now an Italian. Oh, when I was in Italy some years ago, I went on holiday on my own, as I often do, and I was sitting outside a pizzeria, just sitting it was night time, waiting for my pizza, and this wonderful Italian, he walked by and he gave me the most beautiful smile. I don't think I've ever seen a smile like it. And that's another memory that I have when I get really, really down and you come across these Englishmen in t-shirts and sloppy shoes, and that's another story. Anyway, I'll finish this one first. So we had a lovely evening, and he walked me back to my where I was staying. Oh, it was so lovely, and it was a warm evening that you get on the continent. A warm evening, and he again just a peck on the cheek, really, bowed and clicked his heels and said, "We call this the Tetle Metle." I don't know how to spell it because I've not seen it printed anywhere, but he said it means a little love affair. Wasn't that beautiful? So maybe I'll end on that note. I have got lots of other stories, and I've done about 6 minutes anyway, so maybe this is like an in-between job. The next one's not due until next week. I don't know. But I just wanted to tell you that story because it was so very, very romantic. And I think we wrote 2 or 3 times. He was a Gemini, by the way, and they're not particularly known for their romances, are they? I don't know. I expect somebody will say they know a Gemini. But generally, I think, it's not one of the romantic signs. And we did meet the following morning, actually, to go and sit by a swimming pool, but he didn't want to speak. I don't know. He obviously had his little, romance, and that was that. But I've never forgotten it, and that's 40 years ago. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's so sweet and so lovely, and I think we, as girls especially, I not think terribly men are very good at sending cards and stuff. Although, again, somebody will write and say they have a wonderful time, but I think it's time for us to be our own Valentines, really, and I'm pretty good at that. I have to be very good at that. Looking after myself and buying myself. I bought myself some flowers. Buying myself some flowers. I think I have actually sent my card once or twice, which is a bit silly. Yeah, I've had it's time to go. So happy Valentine's Day. God bless. Bye.